Hello everyone and welcome to Howard Community College in Columbia, Maryland, site of today's American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. I'm Jay Aaron along with Oliver Kennedy. We will be calling the action this afternoon as 34 horses and riders compete for $30,000 in prize money. Oliver, we have a very strong field.
A very field of horses. We have some young riders in the competition, and amateur riders making some of their first Grand Prix starts. Also, 17-year-old sensation McLean Ward is in our field today. 2 Olympians in the field as well. Ann Krasinski, a 3-time Olympic veteran, and Joe Farr, just the double gold medalist from the Los Angeles Games, is in our field as well. So you never know what could happen in a day of show jumping.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful day here in Columbia. We will meet the man that designed this demanding course right after this.
The Columbia Classic is brought to you by the American Cafe Restaurants, with locations throughout the Baltimore-Washington metropolitan area. Ryland Home and Mortgages. Ryland for home, for mortgages, for keeps. Kidder Peabody. Talent, discipline, perfect timing. These are qualities we appreciate. Anderson Consulting. A balanced, realistic approach that puts fear where it belongs, in your competition. Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch is bullish on Columbia. Actuarial Science Associates, employee benefit consultants to national and international clientele. Blockbuster Entertainment. We hope you'll make it a blockbuster night. Coca-Cola and your local Coca-Cola bottler. First Union National Bank. American Express Travel Services. And Chase Manhattan Bank.
Welcome back as our Grand Marshal, actress Bo Derek, making her way around the ring, meeting the riders and our crowd today. And just before the class, I had a chance to talk with course designer Michel Vaillancourt about what we should expect from his course today.
The course is pretty big. Now, what really plays as far as factors is concerned is the terrain itself. It's got a pretty major slope to it. And of course, nothing is on the flat. Like, you're either climbing up the hill or you're going downhill. So of course it creates a real balance problem for the horses and the riders. So it becomes a rider's course, really. But it's very consistent. It's stout all the way around. The triple combination will be very difficult coming up the hill. The double goes down the hill. So therefore, again, added difficulty there. Now, the last jump is a long way out. And again, a very large fence. Be interesting.
Ringmaster Alan Keeley of Bedford, New York sounds the call for our Grand Prix event this afternoon. Perfect conditions. We're ready for action. Our first to ride in this competition will be Debbie Stevens aboard Katango.
The rain has let up. We had rains throughout the night and throughout the morning. The sun is out now. And we had a chance earlier on while Debbie was walking the course to catch up with her, ask her what plan she's made to prepare her horse for this wet going.
You know, it is a difficult decision because this field has a little bit of a slope. And on the top part of the field, it's dry, relatively speaking. On the bottom part of the field, it gets quite mucky. I went to a very long, pointed stud so it wouldn't hold the horse, but yet it would impair him from slipping. I think that footing is definitely a factor here today, and I think the stud choice is crucial.
Well, just as Debbie said, that stud choice is very important. Just like a football player, choosing the right cleats for the day, traction is all important in show jumping.
Debbie now heading down to fence number 4, the First Union Swedish Oxer.
Very large sprint fence starting to go back uphill as she comes by the sponsor tent.
And now over the Merrill Lynch vertical. These jumps are quite large, Oliver.
Very large. They range in heights from 4'9" to 5'3" in height. The spreads can be anywhere up to 5.5 to 6 feet. Debbie having no problem there through her first double combination, a power test on our course, as she comes down now over the Ryland Homes fence.
And will now be faced with the Coca-Cola triple bar, our widest jump, 7 feet wide.
Up and over the Actuarial Sciences fence by our crowd. She's just a little over halfway through the course now.
And now heading on down to the major difficulty on this course, according to Michel Vaillancourt, our course designer, the triple combination. Chase Manhattan on down to the wheels jump by Kidder Peabody, and she goes clear over that.
A major power test there up that demanding line, heading down to the final fence on the course, the Blockbuster Entertainment fence. She's up and over, and our first clear.
So right out of the box, Debbie Stevens shows us the way, a clear round. How many more will there be today? Second to ride now in our Grand Prix. Here is 17-year-old McLean Ward from Brewster, New York, aboard Zorro.
Well, we say 17 years old. McLean's already been riding in the Grand Prix for 3 years and in the major junior amateur classes since he was about 11. He's a seasoned veteran. He was the American Grand Prix Association's Rookie of the Year, and this year became the youngest rider ever to represent the United States at the age of 17 when he rode in the Nations Cup in Rome, Italy.
And he comes from a family of riders.
That's right. McLean's father, Barney, is probably one of the biggest horse traders in the United States, importing thousands of horses from Europe every year.
As we watch the action now, going down over the railroad, vertical to the oxer, a double combination, only one stride. Just jumping over the Ryland Holmes vertical.
Over the triple bar. And McLean, when I was talking to him earlier on, said this is a horse that he wanted to move up. He wasn't really sure how he'd do. But McLean is still at 17, such a seasoned rider.
He's really eyeing up that triple combination ahead, though. And here he goes.
Up and over through the triple. McLean really is looking for a win today. He was second just by a nudge in our junior amateur class.
And with just one jump remaining, he's up and over. In the time allowed, we will have a jump off. McLean Ward aboard Zorro now joins Debbie Stevens and Katango. We will have a jump off in our Grand Prix today. Westport, Connecticut's own Joanne Kovacs aboard Another Moment.
Another Moment is a new horse for Joanne in the Grand Prix ranks. They made their first Grand Prix start in August of '93. Competed at the intermediate level, just one step below the Grand Prix, and then made the big move up.
You know, this is quite a long course, Oliver. 15 jumping efforts, and actually includes a double combination and a triple combination. The length of this course, does that have anything to do with stamina?
The stamina problem is not as much of a factor. These horses are very well conditioned, but one thing that is unique to this field is it has a little bit of a roll to it. There's a little hill and up and down, which makes some of the fences, if they may be 4 foot, if you're jumping downhill, a little bit lower, but when you're going uphill, you can add another 3 to 6 inches to the height of what the fence would actually be.
Well, Joanne doing a good job so far. Wait, whoop, caught her with the triple bar. 4 faults there.
That very wide fence there. For each knockdown they get on course, they receive the penalty of 4 faults.
And now turning left-hand turn to that big power portion, the triple combination, and then to the vertical. That stayed up.
Up and over the vertical, just one fence to go. Joanne with 4 faults right now for that one knockdown. Here we come to the Blockbuster Entertainment fence, and again a hind rub, taking that front rail down for 8 fault total.
So the score is 8 for Joanne Kovacs, and Another Moment, she will fall down in the placings. Here's Joe Farges from Southampton, New York, aboard Johnny Quest. I had a chance to talk with Joe Farges, 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, individual gold medalist and team gold medalist, and we chatted about his pressures from day to day riding Grand Prix show jumpers.
You do the best you can every day, and the gold medal for me, it was a glorious day, but it was 10 years ago, and it doesn't affect me on a daily basis other than to say thank you for letting that happen to me, and I just do the best each day I can.
Joe's just one of those regular guys, you know, when he's got to go back and keep the eye of the job at hand. There are other horses to ride. He's got 2 nice young ones here that he's been bringing along this year. He's had a couple of wins on the tour with a horse we'll see later on in this class.
I don't know if the term stylish means anything, but he has what I would consider absolutely classic form, and maybe that's why he had the gold medal combination in Los Angeles.
Also took home that silver medal in Seoul, Korea. 3 Olympic medals to his credit already. and a seasoned Grand Prix veteran.
Growling at him there, trying to make sure he gets up over the big vertical there.
Joe setting up here with the young horse for our testing triple combination. Having the first rail down, getting caught up there behind in the stop.
Let's look at the replay.
We see Joe coming around here from the 10th. The horses seem to get a little bit distracted in that corner. He gets caught up with that rail in his legs, and he has to pull up there at the stop.
So 4 jumping faults for the rail down in the A portion, 3 jumping faults for the first stop, and then, of course, 8 seconds added to their total time allowed. So he's riding now with 7 as we continue.
The seasoned veteran gets the young horse back in gear. Joe Fargis, always a rider to be reckoned with. Still one more to go for Joe in our competition today. As he heads to the final fence, the Blockbuster video fence, finishing up with a total of 7 jumping faults and 2 1/4 time penalties.
So 9 1/4 is the total score for Joe Fargis aboard Johnny Quest. Jen Emmett of Bernardsville, New Jersey, next to compete on her horse Freestyling.
Well, we talked earlier about George Morris, the world famous trainer. This is another of his disciples, as you may call them, coming down over the American Express fence. Jen has been very successful in the amateur ranks and also in the Grand Prix. She competed in World Cup qualifiers on the Canadian Tour this summer, and also placed in the Grand Prix at Newport, Rhode Island in August.
I believe I remember her from the pony competition.
She is a previous winner of the American Horse Shows Association Pony Finals, event that we covered a number of years ago. Now at 19 years of age and a student at Lehigh University, having trouble there in our double combination.
Let's take another look at that.
So we get to see in our replay, she comes up to the A element and gets too deep and caught up in that rail, and there's no way she's going to jump out. And the horse says, no way, we'll see you later.
And second attempt now to the double combination, the railroad fences. Another rail comes down, another 4 faults.
Having trouble there at that A element. That crowd is really causing a bit of trouble for some of our younger riders and greener or less experienced horses.
Way up and over that triple bar. And the vertical.
Got a bit of a tune there, as we call it. The rubs going into there. This horse doesn't really like to touch the fences, and when he gets a little bit scared, he really backs off and starts jumping way up over them.
And a different look through the triple combination. A strong ride there. And now the vertical at Kidder Peabody. And a kick out. A little bit unhappy?
I'd say so. Freestyling not enjoying this ride too much today. As he heads through the timers, they're going to finish up with 11 jumping faults and 5.5 time faults.
16.5 is the score for Jen Emmett and Freestyling. Nona Garson from Lebanon, New Jersey, aboard Derek.
Nona and Derek have been showing in the intermediate and open jumper divisions. She's made a few Grand Prix starts in the smaller Northeast Grand Prix and making the move into the big time Grand Prix circuit just this summer, and has had some success with placings on the New Jersey Grand Prix circuit in Sussex County in August.
Hard rub there, but it stays up on the First Union Swedish Oxer. And over the Merrill Lynch, 5 feet 3 in height.
Very large fence now. We'll see how she does as she heads up by the crowd here at the double combination. Jumping in fine, up and over, stretching out a bit there, coming over the B element of that combination.
And a big twist over the Ryland Holmes vertical. Show of determination on Nona's face as she goes over the big Coke, 7 feet wide, triple bar. Now that tough power portion. What's that look like going down through there?
Just a massive rails. You jump in and just start kicking.
And she's going clear. She could be our third so far with just one jump remaining.
Up and over for Nona Garson. No faults for the young horse, and Nona Garson becomes the third to qualify on our list for the jump off.
Lori Jacoboscus from Greenville, Delaware, aboard her mare, Locked and Loaded.
Last year, Lori was fourth here in the American Cafe Columbia Classic. And an interesting story with this horse, it was donated to Lori. It had been given up on, and Lori took it and has developed it into a Grand Prix horse, and she's had placings, 2 placings this year on the tour, both coming in the New Jersey Grand Prix circuit. She was fourth here, as I said earlier, last year in our American Cafe Columbia Classic.
And without fault as she continues on course.
This horse kind of has a little bit of a different jumping style. As he keeps his head way up and kind of doesn't use himself as most of the other horses do on our tour.
And there's the Ryland Vertical. Ryland Homes, one of our sponsors of the American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix.
Up and over that big triple bar. She has to set him up here for the ASA fence again. And that line jumping right into the crowd.
And the left turn now to the triple combination, followed by the Kidder Peabody Vertical.
Up and a rub there, both front and behind. The B element comes down. She has 4 faults right now as she makes the turn back to the Blockbuster Video fence, our last jump here on the course.
And riding with just 4 faults. Oh my goodness, she's gonna fall off.
Oh, she does an amazing job just to stay on the horse.
Let's go to the replay and see that again.
You see Lori cuts down as she leaves from here to China, and there's just no way the horse has a chance to make it over. Gets caught up in the rails and jars Lori right out of the saddle. She does an amazing job just to stay on his back.
Well, the final score is only 8 faults. She could have been eliminated if she had fallen off the horse.
That's right, but just the 8 faults by staying on.
3-time Olympic veteran Ann Kurzinski aboard Dynamite, hailing from Flemington, New Jersey.
Ann is such a seasoned rider. She was a member of the United States Equestrian Team's European Tour this summer, and they had great success winning the Nations Cup in Dublin, Ireland. As well, she was 6th in the Kerrygold Grand Prix over in Dublin. She was a winner last week in Devon, Pennsylvania, the American Gold Cup, with one of her other mounts top seed.
Might be one of the most prestigious events, one of the oldest Grand Prix events in the United States, in Devon, Pennsylvania. In fact, Ann wearing the United States Equestrian Team colors as she goes around the course today.
Such a seasoned veteran. 3 Olympics she has performed in. She has also won Pan American Golds in Caracas, Venezuela.
One would have to expect her to be a strong favorite in this competition.
A major adjustment there Ann had to make to get out over the actuarial sciences fence. Ann is such a polished, seasoned rider. I'm really surprised that line hasn't caused more of a problem, the combination line there from 7 to 8.
And now through the mass of rails.
All the way up and through. Ann is such a balanced rider. You can see her stay out of the horse's way at all times. 1 jump to go. Could we have another clear?
Can she make it 4? She does. 4 is the number now to return in our jump off here in the Columbia Classic Grand Prix, brought to you by the American Cafe. Now in our Grand Prix event, here is Linda Murat from Ringo's, New Jersey, aboard a horse aptly named With a Little Luck.
Hopefully with a little luck she'll make it. Oh, and it looks like that luck is worn off already for Linda Murat. This is a young horse in one of its first Grand Prix starts here in our competitions on the East Coast Tour. The fence is rather large here, as you see, ranging again from 4'9" in height to 5 feet 3 inches, and spreads ranging up to 7 feet.
What does that do to your psyche after you come right out and you have one of the first jumps on the course down, Oliver?
You just got to keep riding and try and get a good learning experience and training experience out of it. And for this young horse, you see he's jumping much better now.
How important is the rhythm?
The rhythm of the round is just about everything, and you have to maintain that rhythm, because once you lose your concentration and rhythm, it's very hard to get it back because the fences come up very quickly on the course. Our testing triple combination here.
Sponsored by Chase Manhattan.
Up and over a hard rub there, the B element comes down, and Linda now has a total of 8 faults with 1 jump to go.
A strong ride and a heavy splash through there. Let's go to the videotape and see what happened.
Taking off got a little bit long, and with a little luck, didn't see that back rail, lands right in the middle of the wide Blockbuster Entertainment Oxer.
Ian Silich from Sperryville, Virginia returns now on a horse that he's had some recent success this year with, Margot.
Ian and Margot have had a very good year. They moved into the Grand Prix this spring on the Ocala circuit, winning the Winter Hills Grand Prix, and made the trip out west, winning the Southwest Grand Prix in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and just a few weeks ago were the winners of the International Jumping Derby in Stowe, Vermont.
This horse seems to be very attentive, very focused on its job.
I tell you, it's a very nice young horse. I've had the opportunity to watch it quite a bit this summer, and Ian really gives it a good ride. Up and through that double combination, the Hanoverian mare, Margot and Ian Silich, jumping over our presenting sponsor, Ryland Homes fence.
And now to the wide triple bar and that funny distance that Oliver was referring to earlier. No problem at all.
No problem at all there for Ian. He's got just the triple combination line and the Blockbuster Entertainment fence to go. 5 jumps left here for this exciting young combination.
Very handy there. Almost came to a halt.
Ian almost getting jumped out of the tack over the C element of the combination, and he's having to go way around that double combination to set up here for the final fence.
Is he going to make it within the time allowed? Up and over.
We've got a 5th in the jump off. Ian Silich and Margot.
No faults, 5 to return for our big jump off, $30,000 at stake. Originally from Puerto Rico, now living in Culpeper, Virginia, is Sandra Ruiz and her horse, Flashdance.
Sandra's competed in some of the lower level Grand Prix with this horse, moving up earlier this year. Horse is starting to get away from her a little bit. It looks very upset, and whoa, what a bad distance there, chopping that fence down like a lumberjack.
Wow. Well, what's that going to do to her now?
She's really got to just try and get this one around the course now. I mean, the horse has got to have a lot of confidence loss, and he really is having a lot of problems with all the distractions around the ring.
The amazing thing about that is she took out every rail, but yet only gets charged with 4 faults.
Well, a knockdown of one rail or a knockdown of them all. It lowered the height, and that's where we get the score. And another rail comes down. We're up to, right now, a total of 8.
And there's the Ryland Homes fence, and that comes down, now 12.
Up and over the Coca-Cola Oxer and over the Actuarial Sciences fence. A very hard rub there as well.
She's got to be concerned now going into this power portion. The Chase Manhattan triple combination, followed by the Kidder Peabody vertical. Whoa.
And a rail down, we're up to 16 faults, and she makes it through the B and C elements.
So now it really comes down to just being able to make it around the course.
A hind rub, she's up to 20 faults. Sandra Ruiz and a Flashdance.
And the last one comes down. 24 is the total score for Sandra Ruiz. Let's go back and look at the American Cafe Oxer and see what happened.
Well, you see the horse getting away from Sandra a little bit, looking quite upset as he heads by the in gate, and she just gets too deep, and there's no way they're going to clear that fence, chopping it right down.
Well, another day for Sandra, and hopefully it'll be a better one. Originally from St. Charles, Illinois, now working with George Morris in New Jersey, here is Chris Kapler and Guido. I spoke with Chris earlier about riding with the master horseman George Morris.
Well, George is a fabulous teacher. It's amazing to see how much he can bring out of people, older adults, younger juniors, people who don't think or even maybe don't have the ability, what he can make them do in the show ring, get them to do. It's fabulous being able to work with him.
Chris Kapler started out his career with George Morris as a junior rider, now back after much success on his own as the rider for George's Hunterdon Stables in Pittstown, New Jersey. One of the top competitors had the big Grand Prix win with this horse in Chicago at the Equifest Grand Prix, and just 2 weeks ago was the winner of the $100,000 Autumn Classic Grand Prix in Port Jervis, New York with Concord.
Chris seems to be awfully tall. How tall is he?
Chris is about 6'4". He's one of the taller riders on the tour, and that tends to be a little bit of a problem for Chris. He has to really watch his upper body, because if he gets too far up on the horse's neck, he can throw the balance off.
What about the possibility of knocking down a rail with his legs?
That can happen and has happened. It's one of the factors you have to work with when you're as tall as Chris is in riding. You really have to control that body in all different ways.
So far, he's making it look pretty simple. Through the big triple combination, pretty stylish.
Chris was one of the top equitation riders, and in the equitation, it is a test of the horseman's ability to control the horse and solve tests that have been set. Coming down to the last fence, he could be a 6th in the jump off and a clean round.
He'll be one to watch in the jump off as we have an even half dozen return. Chris Kapler and Guido. McLean Ward from Brewster, New York on his second ride today, Orchestra. I had a chance earlier to talk with McLean about being only 17 and competing against much older competitors.
I've had the opportunity through my father being in the horse business to do the Grand Prix now for several years. And though I'm not a veteran yet, I have enough experience to handle a course like this, I think, today. And hopefully, if everything goes well and luck goes my way, we'll have success.
McLean may only be 17 years old, but he's still a seasoned veteran. 3 years already on the tour. He's had Grand Prix victories, ridden for the United States Equestrian Team, and his father is probably one of the most seasoned veterans on the Grand Prix Tour, competing in over 50 World Cup classes, so a lot of experience behind this young rider, McLean Ward. No faults at all as they come to the Ryland Holmes fence.
And remember you earlier saying that he was an equitation champion also. He is very stylish, sits very poised and polished.
He may sit poised and polished, but he is a very effective rider. He has complete control, and a lot of people are sending their troublesome horses to McLean to ride to get them fixed.
Well, his father has definitely been known for taking one or two and making a superstar out of them.
Well, McLean is a superstar in the making. A lot of riders will have a lot of reckoning to do with the McLean Ward factor here in Grand Prix competition for years to come. No faults to this point. And up and over, the 7th to qualify for exciting time jump off coming up.
Debbie Stevens returns, also a United States Equestrian Team veteran with Pilatus.
Debbie just returning from Spruce Meadows, where she represented the United States Equestrian Team in the richest Grand Prix in the world, the $680,000 Du Maurier Classic.
Now, is that in American dollars or Canadian dollars?
Canadian dollars.
So let's see, what's the breakdown?
About 580,000, I'd say.
Still a big piece of change.
The biggest piece of change in any Grand Prix in the United States. Debbie already has one qualified for the jump off.
That being Cotango.
The first to go in our competition.
Can she make it two as she comes into the first combination, the double combination? This horse seems to be jumping quite well.
Jumping very well up and over that exciting double combination now to the Ryland Holmes fence.
I'm really starting to notice the experience rise to the top here in this competition.
You see her going to the voice to get him back, get his attention as he heads into the crowd there.
Well, It is one aid that is used quite wisely by many of our riders.
The seasoned riders use all the tools they have available to them, and we go into the triple combination here. Up and over, no problem. She has 2 jumps left to go here in our competition. Oh, and just leaving a little bit too long, about a stride and a half out.
Let's go back and take a look at that as Debbie gets dumped. She's eliminated. Let's check the replay.
So you see Debbie comes into the distance. She gets there on the half stride. We say she's a stride and a half too far out, and he tries to pat the ground to get over, and he just can't make it off and jars Debbie loose.
Former winner of this event on another horse here is Harold Chopping from the Canadian Equestrian Team aboard Pan Am B. I spoke with Harold about his young horse today.
I think for her, this field with a little bit of an angle will be a little bit tougher. You know, I have to be careful about the balance and make sure that I keep a little momentum and keep her together.
So just as Harold said, there's a lot to look at in this ring for these young horses. The tents, flags, a big crowd on hand, and that tends to take a young horse's attention off. So let's see how Harold's international experience will help him out today as he has to get this young horse through this testing course.
Well, if he can get this one around without fault, guess what? We have 8 to return for a very exciting jump off. $30,000 is at stake here in the American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix.
Already one former winner of this event in the jump-off field in Debbie Stevens, and Harold Chopping would like to make it a second year with a bid for the win here at Columbia. The horse swapping leads there behind. You see him cantering on the right lead in the front end and the wrong lead behind, and Harold having to get him back organized. A hard rub in the B element of that triple combination, but Harold makes it through. 1 jump to go. Blockbuster Entertainment will tell the story for Canadian rider Harold Chopping and Pan Am B.
And over and through the timers is Harold, and he looks back and checks the time and sees that he's in the time allowed, so he will be the 8th to return in the jump off. Don't go away. We'll be back with the exciting jump off presented by Ryland right after this.
I had a chance to talk with our course designer, Michelle Vaillancourt, during the break, and he'll bring you the Anderson Consulting course analysis.
Naturally, the horses will start over fence number 1, a simple element. Then first turn of the jump off, left-hand turn, either inside the Merrill Lynch jump or around it in order to get to fence number 11, which is the Kidder Peabody jump. Then they'll make a right-hand turn to fence number 7, which is the Ryland vertical. And then they have a long gallop to the triple bar, the Coca-Cola jump. Right after that, after this big spread jump, a very tight left-hand turn in order to come to fence number 10, B, and C. And that is the American Cafe jump. Now, they'll go from there, gallop all the way up to the end of the ring to fence number 6B, which is the red, black, and white oxer, which has been narrowed. And then a right-hand turn, run home to the last jump, the Blockbuster video fence.
Our Ryland rider recap. 1990 winner of our competition, Debbie Stevens and Katango will be going first in the jump-off, followed by the 17-year-old sensation, McLean Ward, aboard the first of his 2 horses. Nona Garson and Derek will be going third. In the 4th spot, we have 3-time Olympian Ann Krasinski and Dynamite. Ian Silich in the 5th position aboard the very fast mare Margot. Chris Kapler and Guido will be in the 6th position, followed by McLean Ward in his 2nd Mount Orchestra. And in the 8th and final spot, the 1991 winner of our competition, Harold Chopping, aboard Pan Am B.
First to return now in the prestigious jump-off is Debbie Stevens aboard Katango. Speed is definitely going to be a factor.
That's right, Jay. Speed is a very important factor. The fastest horse with the fewest number of faults will be taking home that $9,000 winner's paycheck today. And Debbie up and over the Anderson Consulting fence. She takes that inside turn that Michelle was talking about in our course analysis back to the Kidder Peabody water wheels. A gallop over here to the Ryland Homes fence. Debbie really flying. She's got a good pace going here with Katango.
And heading now to the Coke fence. And a stop. What happened?
It just looks like he took a weird look at it and decided he didn't want to go. It's quite uncharacteristic of this horse.
He turns around, goes to the whip, and another stop.
That horse wants nothing to do with that Coca-Cola jump. He jumped it just fine in the first round.
She takes the eyes on it, goes for it one more time. Nothing. She's out. She's eliminated.
With that third refusal, there'll be no score, and they'll go to the bottom of our jump-off qualifiers.
That's too bad. The horse jumped fabulous in the first round, and then all of a sudden have that happen. McLean Ward returns on his first of 2 mounts in the jump-off. This is Zorro.
Zorro and McLean have been very successful in the junior jumper ranks. Again, 17 years of age, 2 mounts qualified for the jump-off. He has the best chance here of taking home that top honors. Making that inside cut that Michelle talked about in our course analysis. And a stop there at the water wheels. So, as he said, it's going to be a little bit of a risk if you take that inside turn. You really have to keep riding. 7 faults right now for McLean and Zorro.
Boy, I've done a lot of these Grand Prix, and I've never seen the first 2 come out and stop, and now another stop.
This is quite uncharacteristic. The early going, they're having a lot of trouble here in this jump-off.
Well, we only had 10 minutes in between from our first round, and now we're coming back with the jump-off. What is it?
It's just a different look of these horses. It's unbelievable. They jumped great in the first round, and he's having a good ride now. The horse seems to be getting a little bit of his attention back. McLean, a very seasoned rider, only at the age of 17, though. He is doing his best to keep the horse's mind now on the job at hand.
2 jumps remaining. And now down to the Blockbuster Entertainment Square Oxer.
And that rail down as well. They'll finish up with 17 jumping faults, 17 penalties on the clock, and 67,698.
Total score is 34 for McLean Ward and Zorro. However, they are the class leader. Nona Garson and Derek, they know what they have to do. They've got to keep the jumps up. Looking around, making sure all the jumps are in the cups. And she's got to go around clear, and she could be the leader.
Well, right now she just has to beat that score. 34 faults from Zorro and McLean Ward from our second to go in the jump-off. I've never seen a jump-off where the first 2 had so much trouble.
It's almost as if there's a hex on this class. Takes the inside cut, gets up over Kidder Peabody.
Nona being a little cautious in her time. She's not really galloping as forward as we saw Debbie Stevens going. I think she's playing it a little bit careful after watching those first 2 go.
And a big effort over the Coke jump, Coca-Cola.
Back to the Chase Manhattan combination now.
Just the 2 elements now instead of 3, and she has a stop too.
And Derek says, no way, I just don't want to play. So Nona wheels around. She'll try and jump through this testing combination here. And the jump-off hex continues.
And another stop. So she now has 9 jumping faults, 3 for the first, 6 for the second. And she's incurring time faults.
Going to the whip there with both the A and B elements down. So we're working now with a total of 17 faults.
And that one comes down, so now we've got 21. And down now to the Blockbuster Entertainment. And that stays up.
So up and over, 21 jumping, 26 penalties on the clock, and 76,761 right now, good enough to take second place.
And that's hard to believe. And Krasinski in her ride, Dynamite. Now this gal's not going to stop out.
There's going to be a problem here. Ann is a seasoned veteran. She's seen it all. A veteran of 3 Olympic Games. She rides a young horse, Dynamite. Sizing up the first fence and making that inside cut as well.
That really hasn't been too much trouble, that part, surprisingly.
Now, Ann, a seasoned rider, you see she takes a little bit more of an inside cut back to that Ryland Holmes fence. She's really going for it. Trying to make it 2 weeks in a row with wins on the Grand Prix Tour.
And a big left-hand turn. She's picking up the pace to the combination. Is she going to have trouble? No, she's up. She's over. Just 2 jumps remaining. She may be our first clear.
One jump to go, the Blockbuster Entertainment fence. She's going to be our leader no matter what. The hind rail comes down to 4 faults for Ann Krasinski and Dynamite in the time of 40.764. And right now, that will take over the lead.
Here's Ian Silich and his mare Margot. Ian now has to improve the score. He has to go clear. No jumping faults, keeping it within the time allowed, and he can take over the lead.
Well, Ian already with 3 victories on the tour this year. He takes a good turn back there to the Kidder Peabody fence, just skimming over it. This horse doesn't spend much time in the air, does he?
Not at all. Now to Ryland, inside track all the way, galloping down to the triple bar, and up and over that one. Ooh!
He sets him up just fine. He's turning back, eyeing up that double combination now.
He's awfully fast, and he's got a direct route all the way. 2 jumps. Our first clear. Is he going to be it?
1 jump to go. A long gallop home. The dash for the cash for Ian Silich and Margot all the way with no faults. And the time of 40.639 seconds. That's the new leader.
After a somewhat suspect start to our jump off, it's getting awfully hot. Chris Kapler and Guido, they've got to beat the time now set by Ian Silich and Margot.
Oh, Chris and Guido. Chris has, again, just come off a big win up in Port Jervis, New York in the $100,000 Autumn Classic. A great turn there. He really shaved it. That's probably the best I've seen any rider so far in the jump off make that turn.
And the inside track to the Ryland Holmes vertical. Moving up now to the triple bar. Very smooth.
A hard rub there, and it stays up. Chris, the luck is with him today.
Is that what they say, the luck of the veteran?
The luck of the Irish, I would say, but Kapler isn't an Irish name.
And now over the railroad.
He's got to really pick up the pace here. Ian was quite a bit faster in the latter part of the course.
Yeah, he seemed like he lost time and clear.
No faults at all for Chris Kapler and Guido in 41.271. That will take over second place.
Here's McLean Ward for his second shot. The first one wasn't too good. This time he's on Orchestra.
Up and over with Orchestra. He takes that inside cut as well. They've all chosen that route today. And really picking up the pace here as he makes his bid for the top honors in our competition. Up and over the Ryland fence.
Not a very strong gallop, though, to the triple, like most are really moving forward.
And he's really making a tight turn back here to the Chase Manhattan combination.
So he chose the different approach. He's through the combination, looking very strong, very polished.
2 jumps to go, and he looks like he's on the pace. He could take the lead.
A run, a gallop, he's on his way.
And the last fence down in a time of 40.270. He had the time to take the lead, however, he left the last fence down.
Too bad.
Right now, that's going to go into third place.
Well, here's the situation. Harold Chopping aboard Pan Am B is sitting in the catbird seat. He knows what he has to do. The question is, can he do it?
Harold's a past winner of this event, a seasoned veteran of the Canadian equestrian team aboard the young horse Pan Am B. He's trying to catch Ian Silich and Margot's leading time with a time of 40.639. Just 2 clears, 2 4 falters, rounding out our top 4 placings right now. Harold would like to take a nice piece of this jump off. Money home with him today back to Rougemont, North Carolina.
Well, I think he's going to have to get an afterburner going because right now he's not running quite quick enough. He picked it up a little bit there. Oh, he's out of it right there. 4 faults at the Ryland Holmes jump, and he cruises on down to the triple bar.
Taking that turn back, Harold is starting to be a little bit cautious now. He's got to pick up that pace a little bit if he wants to be the faster of our 4 falters here. Again, time will decide the ties with the quality of faults.
And he keeps moving on down now. Our final jump. There's the move forward we've been looking for. A big, strong gallop and a clear over the final jump, the Blockbuster Entertainment.
4 faults in 44.099 will finish up in 5th place right now.
We'll be back with the exciting results and meet the blockbuster entertainment leading rider in today's Grand Prix. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone, to the American Cafe Columbia Classic Grand Prix. Jay Aaron along with Oliver Kennedy, and now joined by our winner today, Ian Silich.
Ian, first of all, congratulations. That was a great ride. Going 5th in the order, you had a chance to watch a couple of the early going, and they had trouble. Did that change your plans at all?
Well, the biggest thing was just to leave all the jumps up and make sure the mare jumped all the jumps. The first couple of horses are all very good ones and good riders, and I didn't know what was going on because we were in the schooling area. So I just tried to be as accurate as I could, and I tried not to take any chances actually today.
Now, this is the mare's 4th win of the year. A great ride for you, and congratulations. Best of luck later on this year.
Thank you very much. And thank you all very much for the sponsors to make the show jumping possible. It's all greatly appreciated by the riders.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with the wrap-up just after a few moments.
Oh, a shot of our winning rider, Ian Silich, aboard Margot. The 2nd in the class went to Chris Kapler and Guido. The 3rd award to Orchestra and McLean Ward. Dynamite and Ann Krasinski finished 4th. Harold Chopping and Pan Am B in 5th. McLean Ward and Zorro finishing up in 6th, with Derek and Nona Garson in 7th, and Katango and Debbie Stevens finishing up in 8th place.
Well, there you have it, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, so long.